make there, but one of the things I think you need to consider is the
Ey,
massive
gutes
damage
Bild.
that Oliver has.
Können ja gerne
So
ändern
to
in
maybe even
Michi
prevent
Standings oder
the trick
so.
room from being set up.
And talk about burst damage, that is exactly what we see available for Oliver, bringing the Landorus Therian choice banded with the Golden Go versus Fluttermane and Incineroar on Nils' side. So even though there has been Intimidate
Speed boost.
impacting this damage output
Special
on the
attack.
Landorus, it is choice banded, so it's essentially at neutral right now.
Yeah, neutral now, but still going to offer some good damage on the field. Obviously not got the speed advantage that you'd normally see through Choskov, so it's going to be taking damage first before it can get anything off. Has to be wary about that fake out from the Incineroar as well that can come in and disrupt it. Obviously, the
Flatter sieht hier sehr gefährlich aus.
Does have to be wary about a potential attack from the Incineroar if, you know, Nils suspects that the Landorus in a position where it doesn't want to take a fake out and some damage potentially.
Okay, predicted fake out in Lando.
Where it maybe wants to switch out
Und Shadow Ball in Goldengo. Ich bin gespannt.
Indeed, as we do have the terrestrialization already being equipped right now and utilized over on Oliver's side. It is going to be the Dragon Terror, so wanting to essentially go ahead and remove its weakness to those ghost type moves.
But it does create another weakness to fairy types. In essential, the Shadow Ball coming out here from the Fluttermane.
Oh, er geht auf Landorus.
Here and get some good damage onto the field, but this leaves the Goldengo open to do whatever it wants, and it's dropping and make it rain. Whoa. Not quite enough to get the Fluttermane.
Not quite enough indeed. We've seen these sort of Fluttermanes that do have that third move that's actually a bit more niche of a pick, maybe the Substitute or a Calm Mind, have a bit more bulk available to themselves in order to be able to survive those sort of scenarios. Whilst on the other hand, Golden Go, it doesn't have a damage boosting item on its side. It is leftovers, so if there was, for example, like a Metal Coat, it would have likely been enough to be able to dispatch of it.
Yeah, definitely, and I think the Fluttermane in an awkward position here where it can go for another Shadow Ball, can pick up the knockout onto the Landorus, but it's so easy for Oliver just to switch it out here, and you can opt to go for maybe even a Moonblast into that Goldengo here, but if you miss the knockout onto it, that's where you fall a little bit array, because the Make It Rain can come out again and could do huge damage, pick up the knockout onto that Fluttermane. You lose a really key part of your puzzle, and the Incineroar not really as effective anymore because of that Dragon Terror typing.
Hence why we do actually see the switch up here from Oliver's side. He wants to be able to at least capitalize and reduce any Moonblast focuses into that slot and threaten with a Spore going over into the next turn. But we do actually have that Urshifu now also being switched in.
Shadow Ball in the Mungus wäre big.
Able to better position itself.
Oh, okay.
As Moonblast, yeah,
Immerhin.
that's a terrific switch there. You see Mushroom being able to completely sponge that up.
Yeah, really smart switch there from Oliver. Getting the Landorus out of contention, not wanting to lose it too early on so freely. Getting the Amoonguss onto the field now, perfect, because you look at the Fluttermane, it's only got single target attack, so it can go for the Moonblast, it can go for a Shadow Ball, which potentially threaten that Goldengo. But being able to pull those in, alongside pulling in the moves from that Urshifu that's now hit the field, frees up the Goldengo in a position where it is going to be able to throw out, maybe make it rain.
Bisher Lando auch irgendwie noch nicht so viel gemacht.
Take that big threat from the field and do some nice chip damage to the Urshifu along the way.
As we do have a redirection effort here with the Amoonguss, it will be able to pivot away that U-turn.
Reicht Shadow Ball hier nicht sogar?
So it may or may not put it within Shadow Ball range there, but the most important thing here is to also factor the fact that this Fluttermane does not have access to spread type moves, so it's only going to be single target, hence why Amoonguss's value and stocks are really high.
Aber don't get me wrong, das nächste Plot war ja viel zu greedy. Das ist doch richtig kacke jetzt, oder nicht? Er hätte Fluttermane, glaube ich, killen sollen. Chienpao wird halt einfach gefake-outet.
Without the Intimidate, directly threaten itself to lower that attack output, but the question here is, we do have the
muss eigentlich für Protect gehen.
Incineroar available. Which Pokemon do you want to try to target down and utilize in this scenario? Because the Goldengo is now susceptible to any sort of Moonblast focuses, but you don't want the Chienpao's focus sash to be broken.
Yeah, and it's an easy option here for Oliver just to double protect, but if you do that, could Nils maybe suspect that and reposition with something else? Maybe get the Incineroar off the field, get that Urshifu back onto the field with the
Sucker
Scarf,
Punch
will
ist es
then
nicht.
be able to outspeed the Chen
Der wird
Pao. So be
Fake Out
careful if
in
you are
Chen
online
Pao.
here, not to be super careless in this situation, but like you say, the fake out pressure is a real problem right now, and if you get it wrong, it can put you behind in the match.
Ooh, as we actually have a switch out here.
Wait.
Nils wanting to go for that level 2 play, thinking it's a bit too obvious for the fake out. I want to try to get some more board state advantage in my favor. Going for the protect as well. Full defensive scenario from Nils, as it may have been susceptible.
Zum Glück hat Oliver nicht gegen mich gespielt.
Punch, which did try to catch it off guard, and we've got the nasty plot now bringing this Golden Go up to +3 special attack, and Oliver just saying, right, I'm gonna read your obvious defensive play, and I'm gonna take it a notch higher.
Yeah, and it's exactly what.
Er muss Eisspinner Ding spielen, aber
really making it difficult for Nils now. You can see the logic in repositioning the Incineroar, keeping it for later, bringing the
Protect is
in
strong.
for a bit of a sponge up. This next turn got that Rage Powder, going to be able to pull away those Sucker Punch. It's great, but now giving the opportunity.
Weil ich glaube, da kommt Rage Powder und Moonblast in Goldengo.
In a dominant position, but going for that protect here, not wanting to take any risks.
Yeah, and at this point, we've got redirection available on Nils' side, so you want to try to at least go ahead and dispatch of it with the Chien Pao. Sure, you're going to break your focus sash, but the most important thing is trying to get the redirection off the field, which it has done. Indeed, critical hit. I'm not sure if Ice-Spinner naturally would have been enough.
Wenn er jetzt Moonblast in Chien Pao gedrückt hat.
Coming into play here will remove this Chien Pao if there is a Moonblast focus on it, but there isn't. The
Okay, aber er hat noch. Er kann Chien Pao hier Fake outen und Goldengo Moonblasten.
This is a huge turn here for Oliver. Really fortunate critical hit. Not so great for Nils here, but is losing that Amoonguss. Not likely going down to the Ice Spinner like you quite rightly mentioned here, but the Goldengo
Oliver muss für den Double Protect gehen.
Allows the Chen Pao to go for that Sucker Punch this next turn, but Nils still has the Fake Out available now. Going to be able to utilize that against either the Goldengo.
Also selbst wenn er protected, der wird so oder so gefake outed.
You want to go for the Chen Pao here, go for that Fake Out there, because then you allows your
Oh, er will Landorus abschmeißen.
And potentially pick up the knockout.
Weil er kein Protect zur Verfügung hat.
Doesn't want to play with the dice here of chances for going for that double protect and risk the goal.
Finde ich, glaube ich, kacke.
Being taken down by a Moonblast, hence why the Landorus
ist, glaube ich, richtig schlecht.
Goes for that safe protect. Oliver doesn't want to try to let up his advantage.
Ich glaube, Landorus war richtig wichtig.
It's a really smart decision here, because I think otherwise you're going to have to let that Goldengo take the Moonblast, potentially get knocked out. Then you
Aber lass doch Goldengo sterben, damit du Landorus für Incineroar hast, weil Goldengo ist nicht gut gegen Incineroar.
Doing some work again.
It will indeed, as it does come back onto the field, but this Incineroar is starting.
Die Frage ist jetzt, ob er Second Sword in Incineroar oder Sucker Punch in Fluttermane drückt. Ja, okay, dann Protect und Chien Pao killen. Er hat sogar noch Urshifu back. Ich dachte, er hat noch 2 Pokémon. Aber das ist ja GG. Der wird ja mit Incineroar einfach Chien Pao killen. Hä? Hatte der nicht Flare Blitz? Ich check auch nichts mehr. Aber es ist immer noch vollkommen fein.
Oliver may have to try to depend on boosted Shadow Balls to be able to at least dispatch of this Urshifu.
Yeah, and it's really difficult in this scenario where
Terra, damn.
is in that position.
Ich hab gedacht, Nils hätte nur noch Flutter und Dings.
You're not going to be able to pick up the Urshifu with one attack. Do you go after the Incineroar? But we are
ja, dann war der Landorus-Sekt auch okay. Ich hab vergessen, dass er ein Urshifu wurde.
Going for that water terror type to boost the power of those water type attacks from the Urshifu.
Ja, Baujan mit dein.
Thanks to that choice scarf targeting down the Chien Pao. Yeah, it most definitely will be able to pick up a KO. Then no Sucker Punch coming out.
Und Monetigo kann es nicht gewinnen.
Maybe if you're trying to lean into
Ja, ich fand die Nasty Plots allgemein alle richtig kacke.
On its lonesome self in a 3 versus 1 affair at the current moment. I don't think he'll be able to have enough in the tank to be able to push this through. Knockoff doing very minimal damage.
Warum ist Incineroar schneller als Goldengo?
The Urshifu, it does pick up the KO, but once again, you cannot outspeed this Fluttermane that can threaten the Moonblast KO.
Yeah, and that's the problem. I think now as well, the Goldingo has taken a lot more damage than that initial turn where it was full health. So you've got to say the Moonblast is going to be enough. Nils doing everything right in this situation, this tough situation after that critical
Weiß nicht, also wie Oliver hier Goldingo gespielt hat, habe ich nicht gefühlt.
Yeah, and it's going to be coming out right now. The Moonblast
Gar nicht gefühlt.
does seal up this game 1 in favor of Nils in what was a very, very close affair of a board state interactions between both of these trainers.
Junge, der holt ja erstmal seine Cola raus. Es ist bunter.
Impressive to see the way that he was able to manage the Flutterman under really, really pressure situations. Bringing in the Urshifu as well at the right time, catching that sucker punch and failing from the Chen Pao, and then in the position to take full advantage of that choice star item. Getting rid of it, eliminating it, and then
ja, stimmt schon, Mutter.
Goldingo is just easy when you've got the Flutterman, especially with the Dragon Terror typing that came back to kind of bite Oliver a little bit in the end there.
Yeah, it really did, and there were some really nice high-level.
Ist ja sogar eine Pepsi. Ich weiß gar nicht, Bunter, wie findest du Pepsi? So ein Baby getrunken. Meinst du, macht's auch so. Und das dann erst so aus der Puste, wie so Babys, die so trinken. Nee, also ich habe sehr große Hände, ich kann auch eine 2 Liter Flasche easy mit einer Hand nehmen. Aber ich habe auch überdurchschnittlich große Hände. Also ich finde Pepsi und Cola beides scheiße.
Yeah, and I think the one thing that you could really look at in that last match in particular was the fact that Oliver utilized the Amoonguss.
Ja, gleich Bäuerchen und seine Mutter kommt auf die Bühne. Ich sag allgemein crazy so vor Ort, wenn ich so ein Turnier spiele, würde ich nie auf die Idee kommen, irgendwelche Süßgetränke zu trinken. Immer Wasser. Wenn du was Süßes willst, dann gönn dir irgendwie einen Schokoriegel oder so zwischendurch. Aber ich würde da doch keine Cola trinken. Ja, sehe ich schon, Leute, aber ich habe damit nie Probleme. Aber ich habe wirklich auch große Hände. Eine Limo maximal. Ich will nie nicht Wasser trinken. Vielleicht mal eine Apfelschorle oder so.
Not like what happened in that last match. A lot easier said than done, of course. But I think it just goes to show how well Nils managed that game in general, just based off that one kind of situation.
Yeah, I think that's well summarized. And we did have Oliver in a bit of a contentious situation. Having to potentially even consider the Tornadoes is tough in order to have that speed control advantage, because you're going up against a semi-room sort of team.
Wer konnte uns kommen? Ronaldo der Pressekonferenz machen, wo die Cola geschrieben hat, ja. Hat auch ein Wasser und Eis hier dabei. Und ein Energy, falls mir. Ja, okay, ein Energy sehe ich mal noch so zwischendurch. Aber ich kann mir nicht vorstellen, auf so einem Event irgendwas Süßes zu trinken. Wie gesagt, wenn du was Süßes essen willst, okay. Ein Schokoriegel oder so, gar kein Ding.
Yeah, and I think you need to have a way to better deal with the Flutterman, really, and be able to put a lot more pressure on that without having to put the Goldingo at risk. But we are getting straight into game 2, and we have some change-ups.
Okay. Pitu und Ursuluna wahrscheinlich in the bag. Wegen bist dabei. Genau, Skaume, genau. Same. Okay, Special Attack Boost. Da würde jetzt halt ein Ice Beam gescheppert. Junge, Oliver wechselt beide Pokémon einfach raus. Er revealt sein ganzes Team. Das ist crazy. Er hofft wahrscheinlich auf Ice Beam Fake Out in den Ding-Slot. Whoopi, danke für deinen Resub. Sehr appreciate, dankeschön. Ja, Fake Out in den Landorus-Slot. Kommt der Ice Beam auch in den Landorus-Slot? Ja. Okay, er hat Oliver gut gemacht. Ich bin nicht für Oliver. Oh! Ei.
Nils did really want to get rid of that Landorus. You know, you felt that he wanted to in order to open up the Ursaluna in the back to not be susceptible to.
Das war echt ein guter Switch eigentlich von Oliver.
Very potential huge impact.
P2 ehrlich so ein Macher.
It's a massive turn here. Really unfortunate for Oliver, but you go for those ice beams. You are eventually.
Ja, aber es ist richtig kacke für Cola. Klar, Leute. Kannst ihn nur nicht statusen mit irgendwelchen Moves. Also du kannst jetzt nicht Willow gegen ihn drücken, aber du kannst ihn auch mit Flare Blitz burnen.
Two Pokemon that it doesn't like facing down with super effective attacks against it has to be very careful in this scenario.
And you sort of you do have
Oder hat er mit Trick Room gerechnet?
If you're Nils, you might not want to try to focus down on in order to
Warum
throw out the golden go, so you may have to try to knock off target that slot too.
Yeah, I mean, the
wegen Terra Blast.
Fine. I think we are seeing the Rage Powder come out from this Amoonguss in the hope that the Goldengo does thaw out this turn.
Er ignoriert halt. Ja, ist richtig kacke für Nils, man. Jetzt kann er das Goldengo nicht mehr Flare blitzen. Richtig ätzend. Mann, ey. So Hacks gegen Nils. So eine Scheiße. Ja, alle was gebrochen. Oh, der lebt sogar. Aus Fairplay das Goldengo Flare blitzen. Guck mal, das ist richtig nett von Nils. Er ignoriert das Goldengo sogar. Weil der gibt ihm ja sogar die Chance aufzutauen. Das ist richtig ein nice Guy, Nils. Ja, ich weiß kaum. Der will den Terrestrializen. Ja, das ist halt wahrscheinlich sein Play, ne? Ist halt sein Play. Er muss halt hoffen aufzutauen. Andere Winning Situation hat er eh nicht mehr. Oliver ist gebrochen, der denkt gar nicht mehr nach. Heißt Beam Goldengo.
As Amoonguss goes for the protected, does not want to mess around with anything here.
Naja.
Unfortunately, the Goldengo is frozen yet again. Oliver not being able to capitalize off of that and play to his outs, even if he tries. Earthquake will be affecting this Goldengo. This is Flame Orb, Guts boosted. It's not enough to beat up the KO, but
da kommt der Trick Room, ja.
As well as the Trick Room now
kann die Q und Eis wobei.
No, not at all. It does not really have the attacks either to really damage the Ursaluna. We don't see a grass type attack.
Er kann ja gar nicht spawnen.
Poison type that might have been good in different Terra situations. It's got that pollen puff, which is not really going to be doing the damage to the Ursaluna that you need to.
Will der Goldengo rauswechseln? Ja, muss er wahrscheinlich.
Slow that down. Try and waste some of the Trick Room turns. But even doing that, you've really got to contend with this Ursaluna that's going to be easily able to throw out Earthquake after Earthquake and some of those other type attacks that it's got access to.
Yeah, and Landorus is a nice little offset to be able to reduce the damage output of this Ursaluna, but it's
wen holt er rein? Oh mein Gott, ja, Oliver ist so mad. Pepsi Diff.
Yeah, then the Amoonguss coming in from Nils' side, a really good call, because if the Spore comes out into that slot, gonna have the
Jetzt Fassade in Amoonguss.
Then Nils has access to an Amoonguss under a Trick Room as well.
Goldengo over. Nee, der will einmal Earthquake mit seinem Amoonguss auch noch fressen.
You are able to take down the biggest threat to your Trick Room operations in the Amoonguss on Oliver's side.
It's such a nice play because at least you know you got the regenerator to be able to bank on for a switch out afterwards and get another EQ off as well. But most importantly, right now, the Ursaluna is at -1 of its attack. However, we know Facade Guts boosted still hits hard with this same type attack bonus. So it's going to be threatening every single Pokémon on Oliver's side, and he's really against the wall at the moment.
Der hat gar keinen Bock. Er hat keinen Bock. Er versucht sich mal, er hat keinen Bock.
Lead in that one and the winner of this round 12.
Wow, what